Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked. In the last episode, we used a really fun team featuring Rayquaza and Choice Scarf Ditto, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. Thanks once again to Bars for the team. Details for it are in the description below, and yeah, let's just get started. Really interesting matchup for the first game today as we're up against Kyogre, Tornadus, Toxicroak. That reminds me a lot of like the beginning of VGC 2019, Tsareena, Mamoswine, and the Stakataka. So Rayquaza here obviously has to worry about a bunch of things. Mamoswine, Stakataka, and Tsareena blocking extreme speed. All of those aren't really great for us to go up against. Mamoswine's very scary here, but that's where Specs Fini is going to be huge. So I think it's the top 4 that I like the most. It does feel a little bit weird to not bring Rillaboom though. Incin's just a lot more subpar because of the Tsareena being able to block our fake outs. Tornadus Fini as a lead makes sense for them. I definitely like leading our Fini here. Like, maybe we don't bring Ditto. It's just so good for scouting my opponent's sets. But I guess even if I'm copying their Kyogre, it's not that useful for me. So I'm going to go Fini, Rillaboom, Tsareena, and Rayquaza. We'll see how things play out. So, yeah. Obviously, it's a brand new rank season. That's why we're still in Ultra Ball tier. So, hopefully, we can get to Master Ball tier today, if not tomorrow. But thanks so much, as always, for watching. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day. I've asked this question before. A lot of the questions I've asked, I feel like recently have been somewhat repeats, but, always fun to dig them up again, especially for people that, haven't answered them previously. And so, today I want to know what your favorite type competitively is. I think right now in Series 10, Grass type is actually really intriguing to me, and it's been a lot of fun to play with in particular. So that might be my answer for Series 10 specifically, but overall, I feel like my answer changes every time I actually think about this question. But, Dragon types have always been super fun, just because, yeah, there's so many good Dragon types in general. So, we're going to go with Tornadus plus Mamoswine. Tailwind EQ seems somewhat likely. It's probably Focus Sash on Mamoswine. I do risk missing with Muddy Water relative to Skull, but I guess I could see them switching out. Muddy Water and Protect is the play I want to make. Okay, I'm going to go for it. It's fairly obvious, so they might Tailwind and then Protect the Mamoswine. Nope, they switch Mamo out. Okay. That is going to be Tsareena coming in. Okay. Huh, it's Tornadus Protects. Okay. It's a very strong turn from them then. This also gives me full information of my opponent's force, so that's valuable. This next turn is now very interesting. If you're my opponent, do you go for Power Whip onto Rillaboom, predicting a Fini switch or Protect? Or do you just target Fini anyway because it's such a big threat to your team? Accuracy drop there is actually really nice because it makes it harder for them to hit Power Whip. I'm going to pivot into my Tsareena here. Electro Whip's actually pretty interesting, dropping their speed because then Rillaboom can outspeed even if they get Tailwind up. I'm actually kind of down for that. So many Tornaduses are Sash or Wakandberry anyway, so I don't expect to KO with the Volt Switch, and we don't necessarily want to KO them because if we KO them, they get a free switch in. So, okay, that's probably Mamoswine coming in. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's like now you have something that threatens Tapu Fini, so you would expect the Fini to switch out. Yeah, that's logical. So that's a really good switch in. Dropping Tsareena's speed is definitely a little bit valuable for us because now I can outspeed it. I don't think they're AV. I don't know. I actually can't tell. And they do go for Power Whip. They did target the Tsareena slot. Okay, so I don't think it matters that much, but obviously still a fortunate turn. Me switching back into Fini here is really obvious. AV Tsareena is pretty good into their team. It's just a question of whether or not Mamoswine would one-shot Tsareena, because if not, it's honestly valuable to just stay in and go for a Power Whip here. Alright, I'm going to Volt Switch into Tsareena, Power Whip into Mamo. Okay, so they're not going to switch out or go for Protect. It's pretty expected. Yeah, that is not AV. I'm kind of nervous about bringing Fini out here over Rayquaza, honestly. Especially because Fini is probably more important into their team than Rayquaza in this matchup. Despite Rayquaza being the restricted, which is kind of funny. So let's see what Mamoswine goes for. I would assume it's the Ice type attack into my Tsareena. They go for an Ice Go Crash, and Tsareena dodges it as well. Wow. I need to calc whether or not that's a guaranteed one-hit KO. I was making that play assuming we'd survive, especially because they're not Life Orb here. But we've been super lucky with the dodges. And they go for a whip. Okay, onto Rayquaza. Nice. I mean, that works out as well as possible. Now what I can do is U-turn here into... Well, if I'm my opponent, I'd actually protect Mamo. Would you sack Tsareena? You could switch that out into Tornadus. Yeah, I'm fine going for a U-turn here onto that, and then Dragon Ascent onto Mamoswine. To be honest, because they missed that Ice Go Crash, I think it's nearly impossible for them to win, as long as we play correctly. Yeah, I would assume Mamo protects here. Okay, good play by them. So then the next turn is pretty interesting, because I obviously can go for a Extreme Speed, but they could switch back into their Tsareena, but they also threaten with Tailwind. So I can just bring in Tapu Fini in for free, and because Tsareena didn't take any damage and we had that really lucky dodge. Like, they haven't done any damage to us yet. Let's see. Yeah, honestly, here I'm comfortable just going for a Muddy Water. Actually, we don't need to Muddy here, right? Dazzling is actually fine. Yeah, because we don't need super effective damage. No point in risking a miss here. I am just going to Dazzling Gleam, and honestly Protect here I think is fine. Yeah, we have so much more room to work with now that Tsareena didn't take any damage, but I need to calc if Mamoswine is like a guaranteed one-hit KO onto Tsareena, that play on my end was really bad. I made that play assuming I'd survive, and trading damage from my Tsareena onto their Mamoswine is worth it, but if it's actually like a guaranteed KO, then that's just not a good turn by me at all. I don't know the damage calc I thought, just because Mamoswine's not exactly the most common Pokemon in the format right now. Yeah, okay, so they're baiting the Extreme Speed here, and they're going back into Tsareena, but like Dazzling is just a double KO now. That should win us the game. So, yeah, really want to pull up the calc after this one. Either way, Ice Cold Crash is going to go into Protect. There's no reason to not go for Dazzle there. Like, even if my opponent... The worst thing they could have gone for was EQ into Hurricane. But even then, like, that's such a risky play, right? You'd be risking a Hurricane outside of Rain. Also, I didn't even talk about this going into the matchup, but, you know, Rayquaza is actually really nice here because it cancels out my opponent's Weather. So it's like Rayquaza doesn't necessarily need to be the carry in terms of damage, but Airlock really helps in just making sure Kyogre doesn't run out of control. So the main thing here is my opponent tried really hard for positioning, put themselves in a good position with that Mamoswine, but then, yeah, unfortunately missed there, and we were able to bring them down to their Sash, and they never got Tailwind up until probably this turn. I'm down to just Dazzling Gleam. See, we protected last turn. Honestly, I think it's fine just Dazzling Gleam here and Extreme Speed into the Kyogre slot. Actually, we should get rid of Tornadus, because if Tornadus faints, then Tsareena wins the game. You could Protect Horn here, though. Protect Horn and Ice Beam into Rayquaza is a really good play. But then, even if you do that, you just don't really have that much damage into Fini at this point in the match. E-Speed does a ton there. And their Choice Scarf Kyogre. Oh, wow, okay. So their best bet right now is Hurricane, Crit, or Confusion onto Fini. Okay, no Crit. Does get the Confusion. Honestly, even if we hit ourselves in Confusion here, it's fine. And we don't, so that should secure the game. Okay, nice. I mean, Scarf Ogre isn't surprising, but I don't know, I guess I kind of was expecting it to be Mystic Water or Sea Instance there. But Scarf makes a lot of sense. However, because of Scarf Ogre, yeah, it just doesn't do super well into this matchup. You can see how our support was super strong into my opponent's team here. Like, a Lucky Fini Tsareena is an incredible trio to deal with Kyogre specifically. So this battle actually felt more about like the non-restricteds than the restricteds, which I think is really funny. So yeah, obviously we had 2 lucky dodges on the Tsareena, and you know, if you hit that first Power Whip, then I would assume we're definitely in Ice Cold Crash KO range. But yeah, let's pull up the calc and see what that looks like. Okay, so pulling up the calc, I definitely feel a little bit better. If you're Jolly, Mamoswine Icicle Crash into Tsareena does 78 to 94%, so it's actually never a guaranteed one-hit KO there if you're Jolly. If you're Adamant, obviously, that increases the damage output a fair amount, so then it's still only a 12.5% chance to one-shot. Now, this is only accounting for Mamoswine missing. Of course, my opponent also missed the Tsareena Power Whip on the switch-in, so you can actually see Tsareena Power Whip into Tsareena actually does a fair amount of damage, right? So if they hit that first Power Whip, then I do have to change my gameplay substantially because then I probably can't afford to stay in on that Icicle Crash. Whereas because they've missed that first one, then even if they hit that second one, we'd actually still be in a really good position just because we needed to bring Mamoswine down to its Focus Sash and put it in a position where Tapu Fini could just use its attack. So that first miss might have not looked like it mattered a lot initially, but it certainly gave me the confidence to make the play that I did the subsequent turn. So yeah, definitely a couple fortunate kind of RNG rolls for us in this match. And yeah, that's the downside, unfortunately, of using slightly lower accuracy moves like Power Whip and Icicle Crash. But those really are the best options, it feels like, on Mamoswine and Tsareena respectively. So not much you can really do in a position like that other than just hope to hit. And we definitely got a little bit lucky in that spot. But overall, I'm not sure there was too much I would have changed in terms of how we approached the matchup. Yeah, like, I feel like them not setting up Tailwind gave us a really big advantage because then I could play with more confidence. I was actually kind of surprised to not see them set up Tailwind on turn 1 of the game because if you get Tailwind up, then the Mamoswine just outspeeds my team. And then Tsareena also outspeeds my team. So I feel like them actually switching out benefited us more than anything on the second turn of the match. So, yeah. Definitely a fun one, though, and you can see how good the supporting cast, Rayquaza still, just pressures for damage overall. Just a little bit harder to execute because, of course, they have the Tsareena, so I have to be careful about my extreme speeds. And then I also have to be worried about just getting hit by an Ice-type attack from Kyogre or from the Mamoswine. So, yeah. Alright, next one here, and it's a classic Calyrex-I Trick Room team. So, I mean, this is very standard, right? You just get Trick Room, get Weakness Policy probably up on Calyrex, and then go from there. So the first question always is, can I deny Trick Room? The answer is probably not. But then the question is, if they want to guarantee Trick Room, what do you have to lead? It's going to be Indeedee, Mimikyu, or Oranguru Indeedee. Could get a Swords Dance off with Rayquaza, actually. It's just so risky. I think I have to go like Instant Fini, Ray, Ditto here. I could gamble and then use Ditto to copy their Trick Room user, but that's a tall task. I think the main thing we want to do here is basically don't give them a free switch in on turn 1. I just don't love leading Fini because then Psychic Terrain gets set up. Or sorry, Misty Terrain. Going Fini, Ray, Ditto, Instant. I feel like there might be a better option here, but I mean, Tsareena's really not good into most of their team, including their main restricted. Obviously, as a Rayquaza player, and I don't love going up into Calyrex-I, so we'll see how this plays out. But that's the thing, once again, right? If you're using some of the less common restricteds, it does become a little bit more matchup oriented. They actually go with Calyrex and Mimikyu outright. Wow, I was not expecting that. That's interesting. Both of these pressure with Trick Room. I have Instant as a switch-in. How many water? I wonder if Dragon Ascent plus like Scald would just KO Calyrex here. If you're my opponent, really, your play is you should protect Calyrex, Trick Room with Mimikyu turn 1, then just go from there. Man, I honestly want to gamble a little bit here and just go for the Specs Moonblast and the Dragon Ascent here. But no, I feel like you'd be so greedy to not protect Calyrex in this position, right? I could switch Ray into Ditto to copy their Calyrex and then Instant to get an Intimidate onto their Calyrex. Okay, I think that's probably the more consistent play in this position. And the cool thing is Rayquaza copies the Calyrex first, so we don't copy that attack drop. And then they get the attack drop from Instant. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like Moonblast plus Dragon Ascent is honestly a game-winning play on turn 1 if we get it. I guess like we didn't have that much to lose. If you protect, I can make the same play the next turn. It's just then I can't. Like here, you're wasting a turn of Trick Room basically because I pivot into it and I can just fake out. And then the interesting thing is my Calyrex can actually reverse their Trick Room. I'm not sure I want to do that right now. They also could be wider up Calyrex and they're just baiting policy with this lead. Okay, yeah, Calyrex protected. It's just like, how could you not protect there, right? Especially when you don't know what Rayquaza said it is. Like, you'd have to respect Overheat Rayquaza, for example. So, it's a flashy play, but it doesn't make that much sense. Okay, now what? Can fake out. Yep. I mean, this is the moves that we expect. I think I'm down to just fake out Glacial Lance in this position. Calyrex might honestly switch out here into like Torkoal. It doesn't switch out. Fine with that. Break Disguise. Get a little bit of chip on their Calyrex. They're actually going to sneak the Ditto slot. That makes sense. That's a lot of damage. Because they crit. Oh, man. That's like incredibly frustrating because it also now... Well, actually... I don't know. It avoids the Intimidate when I got onto it, which is like the main thing. I think we survive another one anyway, but like, yeah. That's fine. It happens. I think I have to hard switch Instant out into Fini right now. And go for another Glacial Lance. It's just, if you're them, you could just sneak Calyrex. Like, would you high horsepower Incineroar here is the question, right? Because me switching out seems fairly obvious. I think I will switch out here. That crit does make things more difficult for us, unfortunately. But that's Pokemon, and we got pretty lucky, I feel like, in the first game, as well as a lot of the previous episodes. So let's see. They might honestly just Shadow Sneak me instead. Yeah. But I think we survive. Do they high horsepower or Glacial Lance here? Okay, they high horsepower. That's huge. Nice. That's a very, very big opportunity for us. We'll see if Glacial Lance KOs their Mimikyu. Taking 2 Life Orb chips and their Disguise. Nice. Okay. That's it's a big swing in momentum because your Calyrex right now is at -1. And you never reset that drop. You didn't switch it out. You didn't get the weakness policy boost. So that actually puts us in a really good spot. They bring in Oranguru, and obviously with that you can copy. But that's fine. I think Ditto into Instant here is the clear, obvious play. Maybe they high horsepower instruct high horsepower. It's not even that bad if they go for it. 2 turns of Trick Room left. I don't think Specs Moonblast KOs Calyrex from this range. So I'm fine just going for a Dazzling Gleam. And switching into Incineroar. Yeah, I think that works with me. Oh, but the problem here is that we don't eat our berries. So if high horsepower at -2 is a 2-hit KO, then the instruct play is kind of an issue for us. We'll see. Even if it KOs Incineroar, I honestly don't even think our position's that bad. But they go for Glacial Lance. That's perfect. I think because of that, we should be in a winning position. Like, it should be very difficult for them to win now if I play the next turn correctly. All we have to do is make sure we deny them another Trick Room. To which, like, this next turn, it's so easy to just fake out. And now, one thing we want to make sure we don't mess up is remembering inner focus on the Oranguru, which, you know, very fortunately for us, we get to confirm, right, when we switch in the Incineroar, as it was Void to Intimidate. Okay. I don't know, maybe Moonblast actually would have finished it off, but it's the last turn of Trick Room now. Got Gleam once again. I guess the question is whether or not Throat Chop plus Gleam would KO Oranguru in the subsequent turn. Honestly, here I don't mind switching Incineroar out into Ditto. And the reason for that is because I don't really care if Calyrex gets a KO onto the Ditto. I don't really need Ditto to copy anything in this endgame. There's actually a good chance they also protect the Calyrex this turn. But I want them to KO Ditto, because then I get Rayquaza in for free, and then I can just Dazzling Gleam, Dragon Ascent the Oranguru. Okay. Yep, Calyrex protects, perfect. I could have just attacked with Incineroar there as well, I guess. They're going to foul play the Fini slot. That's interesting. But that actually works out better for them that way, I would say. Yeah, my only question here is I'm not confident Glacial Lance and Dazzling Gleam KOs the Oranguru. Actually, I'd be kind of surprised if they survive that. I don't know, though. Oranguru's rather bulky. But then, like, okay. So there's two things here, right? I could also just click Trick Room with my Ditto, expecting them to Trick Room with Oranguru and reverse it. Their last one's going to be Torkoal, Fini, or Indeedee. Indeedee's not really a concern at all. Torkoal's a little bit scary, but we have Airlock. Fini is probably the scariest of them, but Focus Sash and Rayquaza helps. I think here I'm honestly willing to just go for Glacial Lance and Gleam. But, like, the thing is... Okay, they switch Calyrex out into Torkoal, right? Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the thing here is if this double up knocks out Oranguru, it's just game over. But yeah, the foul play into Fini actually worked out pretty well for them. It might have been better to just stay in with Incineroar. I don't know if Glacial Lance does more than a super effective Darkest Lariat. Okay. I feel like Glacial Lance should KO. Even if not, though, we've got Rayquaza in the back. I've got Incineroar, which is really valuable. Okay, that's enough. I don't know, this Oranguru just looks so bulky that I was not 100% confident on that. Okay. Very nice. Calyrex comes back out. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much my opponent can do in this position. I think the key thing in this game was my opponent just not going for Self-Shadow Sneak. Calyrex snowballs so quickly, so Self-Shadow Sneak into Icicle or Glacial Lance would have been such a strong play for them, and probably would have allowed them to snowball the game out of control. And obviously I'm going for Glacial Lance here because I'm choice locked. I can't go for anything else. But no reason to switch out. Here it's like your best play is probably to protect Calyrex, hope to get a KO with Torkoal. Yeah, but even if you protect, I think +1 double target Glacial Lance would KO the Torkoal anyway. So yeah, not bad. Ditto's really been amazing for us here, so I've been really happy. Wow, that actually survived. But they go for Eruption. So their play was to protect Heat Wave, but obviously, like, you're not beating Fini at this point in the end game. We did get a critical hit on Torkoal in the switch-in, so that was fairly fortunate, but the main thing here is my opponent's team is so dependent on Trick Room. You absolutely need to get Trick Room up to win the game. But then even if you get Trick Room up, you need to, like, sweep quickly enough, right? Each turn matters so much. And Calyrex Ice Rider is a Pokemon that, like, in particular, you need to be very meticulous about. And so the fact that, yeah, we were able to intimidate them early and then they didn't get a boost afterwards was really good for us. So, yeah, we can actually check their team. Life for Mimikyu. I like to play rough. Or, sorry, the Wood Hammer tech here. That's really valuable into Kyogre. Mental Web Oranguru makes sense. Charcoal Torkoal makes sense. They did have Heat Wave, so Eruption there was surprising. Psychic Seed on Indeedee. Lefties on Fini. I love the Nature's Madness pick. And then Policy on Calyrex. Yeah. Yeah, so nothing too surprising here. But, you know, with a composition like this, it's just so hard to win the game. Like, if you don't get Trick Room up, it's actually just really difficult to win outright. I guess you do have, like, Calyrex plus Indeedee to play towards. And I guess it's, like, you're almost always guaranteed Trick Room because of Indeedee plus Mimikyu if you lead that. Like, the issue was that my opponent led Calyrex. It was actually a really good lead by them because it pressured what I had. But at the same time, when you lead Calyrex, you don't get that safe switch-in into it, so we were able to get a quick Intimidate onto it. But... yeah, I think, like, the main turn I was debating about in this match was when they went Shadow Sneak onto my Calyrex the second time around. I was also thinking about staying in with Incineroar, just clicking Flare Blitz, because it would have covered for them self-Shadow Sneaking. But, yeah, because we ended up switching out and they didn't, you know, get the self-weakness policy activation, it made the match a lot easier for us. So, yeah, not bad. Let's look for another one. Final one of the day, and this one is up against Kyogre once again. So, Rayquaza looks really good here, which I'm happy about. The only interesting thing here is, like, Ditto's role. It's valuable once again in scouting out my opponent, but Game 1 showed me how good Tsareena, Fini, and Alecki all are. I think we have to go with those, yeah. So, I'm down for Rayquaza. If I'm them, what would I lead? Incin Zapdos? Incin Ogre? I like Alecki plus Rayquaza, Tsareena plus Fini. One thing I haven't really talked about very much yet is the potential of my Tsareena as a switch-in to deter their fake-outs. I mean, that's obviously one of the main roles of Tsareena, but That could be really helpful in this matchup. So, we'll see. Because, yeah, I think, like, what I'm trying to go for here is utilize Regieleki and just get a big attack off if they lead Kyogre. They're going to go Zapdos Kyogre. Okay. That's actually very good for us to go into, in my opinion, because what I can do turn 1 is just Electro Web into Swords Dance, I'm pretty sure. Oh, unless they're Scarf Ogre. Oh, no, they're not. We have Airlock went off first. Kyogre's in a terrible position, so you would think that's going to want to switch out right now. Maybe they go for an electric type attack onto Rayquaza, but I'm honestly fine with that. So, yeah, I'm just going to go for Electro Web Swords Dance. I guess they could just stay in with Kyogre and just, like, Thunderbolt Ice Beam Rayquaza. And just say, I don't think you're going to knock out Kyogre here. So this plays a little bit risky because of that. Like, maybe I could have gone Thunderbolt onto Kyogre turn 1 instead. And if they attack with Kyogre here, like, props to them. Yeah, okay, they protect. Good. I was a little bit nerve-wracking there, but I figured that's a really risky play to make. Okay. So there's Electro Web. Very nice. If we had like a strong attack there, I would have just attacked into Zapdos, but Dragon Ascent's not KOing, obviously, because it resists, so not really worth it. They're just going to go for Hurricane. Confusion here would be really bad. Okay, we dodge it. Nice. It is a 2-hit KO. It's a little bit scary, but that's fine. What to do now? Oh, let's not run. Also, yeah, that Hurricane's more risky because it's because of Airlock being up. If they miss that, I honestly think they just lose the game from that position. It's fine, though. They don't have a Dragon Ascent switch in, which is really good for us. What I don't want to do is attack into a Protect on Zapdos' end. So, like, here I'm going to just Dragon Ascent into the Kyogre slot. And Thunderbolt into Zapdos. Because we know your Kyogre is in Choice Scarf. So, yeah, they switch Kyogre out. That's fine. Into Rillaboom. Getting Rillaboom out of the way is such a big deal, right? Because that thing's actually such a big threat into Regieleki. So, it's like, here, there's a good chance Zapdos protects. Even if it doesn't, you have to hit Hurricane with Airlock being up. Even if you hit that, though, Zapdos would be very low in terms of HP. So they correctly don't protect, but that's, once again, it's fine. Oh, T-Bolt actually gets that knockout. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, well then it's just game over. The main thing for, the advantage for us in this one is that they did not have a Mamoswine. Like, Mamoswine is not a Pokemon Rayquaza wants to go up against, but not bad. Cool. Okay, now, yeah, it's Mimikyu plus Kyogre. We can just go Electro Web into Dragon Ascent on Mimikyu. That always wins the game. Unless Electro Web misses Mimikyu. I guess unless Shadow Sneak could KO Rayquaza here. And Dragon Ascent. Electro Web. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, the game's just over, I think. But I need to cover for max speed Mimikyu here. Yeah, so they go for Protect, which is the correct play. We have Tsareena and Fini in the back, so by going for Electro Web here, it just covers for Mimikyu outspeeding Rayquaza. We drop their speed, KO them. So that's good. Yep, get rid of this, guys. Very nice. And this should be a KO. Okay. Yeah, like, the main thing here is that their only electric resist, or sorry, flying resist was the Zapdos. And Regieleki plus Rayquaza was just so good into my opponent's team here. Like, there was nothing my opponent could have really done. So, just Dragon Ascent and T-Bolt here. Especially with them not being Scarf Kyogre. Like, if they're Scarf Kyogre, I have to play very differently on turn 1, because I have to respect the Ice Beam or the Water Spout outright. But Magnet Regieleki was just so good here. Being able to knock out, we get a crit there. I don't think it one-shots. I'm not 100% sure. It might be a roll, honestly. But yeah, that was like as good of a Rayquaza match as you can ask for. So pretty lucky for us, I guess, to actually run into 2 different Kyogre comps in this one. Because yeah, I think Rayquaza actually has a pretty favorable matchup into those Kyogre teams. So yeah. Either way, though, we have time, so let's play one last one. All right, final one of the day, and it's up against Yveltal. Yveltal. What do we want to do here? Rayquaza's not bad. Stakataka is worrisome once again. Fini's good. I feel like I should bring a Lecky just for offense. Into Yveltal specifically. Wide guard from Stack is pretty scary. We've got high jump kick on Tsareena. Ditto copying Yveltal wouldn't be that bad. What would I lead against Rayquaza? Landorus Fini? A Lecky Fini? Those are both pretty strong. I think Fini generally on my side is really good into their team, so I like that. Fini, Ray. Fini, Ray. I don't like Incin. Ditto Lecky. Do I really not bring Tsareena? Sareena's value is helping out against a Lecky plus Fini. I'm gonna bring Ditto for sure. It's just so fun to play with. Okay, I'm just gonna go with a Lecky here. I want as much anti-Yveltal as possible, honestly. And Fini plus a Lecky, like I feel like we have answers into. So I'm not as worried about those. So let's see. Either way, I think the goal here is, one, to figure out the Yveltal set. That's also why I want to bring Ditto, by the way, because Yveltal is a Pokemon that has a fair amount of flexibility in its items. Move trace is relatively standard, but the items are what make it a little bit scary to go up against. They go with Yveltal plus a Lecky. I mean, I'm okay with this, I think, but this is still pretty scary. It's just a question of your Lecky item. Specs or Magnet's really tough here. Okay. Like, I could pivot Fini out into Ditto, but if I copy their Yveltal and then just go for an electric type attack, that's obviously pretty bad. Fini not being able to protect here is not good for us. They could also just Electro Web Foul Play Rayquaza. Dicey, dicey, dicey. I have to play risky turn one because I got outled here, I think. They outled me pretty hard, actually. I'm actually going to Dazzling Gleam and Swords Dance here. If they play passive, like, this could give us a huge advantage. And yeah, they go for Volt Switch. Okay. This is a huge, huge turn then. Even if they knock out Fini, I get a free Swords Dance up. And that completely swings the momentum of this game. They bring in their Fini, but that's fine. At this point, Rayquaza is a huge offensive threat for them to go up against. We're also faster than Yveltal, which is very good. They might foul play us here. That actually would be pretty bad, wouldn't it? Oh, they're really slow. Wow. They're even slower than my Fini. Good foul play. But I confirm that you're Assault Vest that way. And I have Extreme Speed, which is higher priority than Sucker Punch. So, because we're faster here, it's relatively risk-free to Dazzling and E-Speed. Yeah, I'm just going to go for that. Honestly, their place to probably switch Yveltal out right now. We get to confirm that they're really slow, they're bulky, and they're Assault Vest. So, all that's good to know. They do pivot Yveltal out. Landorus is fine. I'm not that worried about it because I think +1 E-Speed into Specs Gleam is a KO, given like the AV's not on there. I guess the question is whether or not they protected their Fini, because I could have just gotten a free knockout onto that slot. Oh, that's not going to be a KO. And their Rocky Helmet. That's really bad. Icy Wind, okay. Yeah, I definitely expected to do a little bit more damage there, and the fact we didn't is not good. Now, I can bring in a Lecky. But if I bring in a Lecky, you're just going to protect your Fini, right? I guess I'll go into Scarf Ditto, because I can Scarf Ditto the Icy Wind. That turn is a little bit frustrating for me, though, because I could have just gone Dragon Ascent into the Fini slot, or even Extreme Speed into that slot. Okay. So we get to confirm their moveset here. Pivot this out into a Lecky. It is Moonblast, Icy Wind, Heal Pulse Protect. Yeah, that Landorus is really nice as a switch in, so well done. Yeah, I'm gonna Icy Wind here. Switch out. And Icy Wind should KO Landorus, bring their Fini speed down. The problem is now their Regieleki. It's gonna be a tight battle in the end. Yeah, their Yveltal, like, you can see how bulky Yveltal is with the Assault Vest. Choice Spec Dazzling Gleam from Fini doesn't even do 50. It's wild. Either way, though, we get a nice knockout onto their Landorus here. Drop their Fini speed a little bit. And then we can go from there. Okay. And they go for an Icy Wind of their own. So the problem is now you what? Bring out Regieleki? You can't really bring Yveltal out safely, right? Because if you bring Yveltal out, well, I'm just going to go Icy Wind plus Volt Switch. So you have to bring out a Regieleki. We know your AV Yveltal. We know the Yveltal's slower than my Fini. I have Scarf on Ditto, so this Fini is still going to be pretty fast. If they bring in a Regieleki, what you can do is just go for an Electric type attack into my Tapu Fini. Yeah, and I don't have great counterplay to that, do I? Like, if I'm my opponent, I'm protecting. I think they always win the game if they just protect Fini and then Electric type attack to KO my my Ditto. So I basically need to hope for them to mess up and not protect the Fini. Yeah, if you protect Fini and Electric type attack Ditto here, I think I actually always lose the game. But they identify it. Okay, well done. The main thing that caught me off guard in this game was the Rocky Helmet. And that's not even super surprising on Landorus, honestly. Oh, that's interesting. They actually targeted my Regieleki. I didn't account for that possibility. If I had Volt Switched their Ditto or their Regieleki here, this might have actually been a pretty different outcome. Wow. Yeah, I missed that as an option that they could go for. Because the Fini protecting there seems so obvious. But they don't know the item on Ditto, so they're probably afraid of me just going for a protect. Ugh, now what, though? What do they go for? We're also not max speed, but they don't know that. I dropped their speed 1. Okay, I'm going to protect Icy Wind here. I don't know if that's the play. Like, this is not an easy position to play out of. But it feels like if we called who Regieleki targeted this turn correctly... Okay, they do T-Bolt into us. That's good. I'm also going for Thunderbolt. Makes me question, like, do you not have Electro Web? Alright, this is still winnable then. I don't even know if Volt Switch into a Regieleki last turn was the correct play. They're just going to Heal Pulse? No, they go for Icy Wind. I think I have to switch my Fini out because then I can use that to copy their Yveltal. So I'll just sacrifice my... Yeah, like I'm fine to sacrifice the Ditto here. Or sorry, the Fini here that I have in the back. Now I'm faster than their Regieleki, but I don't think Electro Web into Icy Wind is a KO onto their Regieleki. There's no way. I'm at -2, I'm at -1. You would probably protect this and then T-Bolt into a Regieleki. So what I can do is... I would actually just want to Volt Switch into this, right? That's the best way to sacrifice it. But then I don't get to copy... I have to switch Ditto to copy. I can protect here, actually. Switch Ditto out. Okay, yeah, I think that's the play. They might switch out, though. Also, the problem is they might just KO me. Like, KO the Fini. Here I'm hoping... Yeah, actually, wait, that protect made very little sense, right? Because didn't I just protect last turn? Yeah, that was just a brain fart. Volt Switch, but I couldn't figure out a play, like, covered for everything. Because, like, I could Volt Switch. Oh, that's interesting. Actually, Man, the play which I wanted to go for, which was Volt Switch into Alecki, would have actually worked out perfectly. Because then I would have been able to get the free switch him back in. But I was really nervous about that. I guess Volt Switch always works there because I would copy their Alecki anyway, right? Yeah. That was a bad brain fart on forgetting I had literally protected the previous turn. But this, I was just like trying to calculate all the different options we had to win this game. I can Electro Web now. I don't think Web into Moonblast is a KO, but it's our best bet of winning here. Copying their Fini for refreshed Fini is actually a really big... Oh my goodness. They're just faster anyway. So it's Choice Card for Regieleki. Okay, given that it was Scarfalecki, then we probably didn't have any outs, right? Well, if I Volt Switch there, I would have been able to copy their Alecki. Then I'd actually see they don't have Protect. Maybe I'd play a little bit differently. That's really cool, though. Okay. Yeah, obviously forgot about double protecting. You always want to just remember and double check that, but so much had happened just after that turn. I was just trying to counter, like, think of every possibility in this match. So the Rocky Helmet, Bulky Land, they had so much bulk to work with on this team. And I think this is a really nice way to play Yveltal, where you have Fini to naturally heal your Landorus and your Yveltal, both which are really bulky. So maybe it's not Scarfalecki. I mean, this Alecki is only modest 116, so maybe timid 252 outspeeds, even at -1 on our end, -2 on their end. I'm actually not 100% sure about that, but yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thanks so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.